A lot of organizations, a lot of institutions, it's very natural. They tend to focus on their own knitting. They stay in their own lane. And some of the deepest problems that we all face require people to cross boundaries, require people to talk to each other. And there's got to be an organization that does that in Kenosha. And the organization that does that here is BOF.
Several years ago, when Building Our Future first started, it began with Gene Moran and other community partners coming together. And what they did was they convened a group of business leaders, education leaders, community leaders from throughout our community to really take a look at Kenosha and what did the future of Kenosha look like and what issues are dominating, our community. And that group came up with this consensus that education was the biggest issue that would impact our future.
Our driving vision for Building Our Future is to make sure that all of our young people have the opportunity to achieve economic mobility. And what do I mean by that when I say economic mobility? So we want every young person to have the access and opportunities to chart their own path to the career of their choice. We are that place-based partnership, that collective impact. And so we bring all of our community partners together. If you're from the business community, nonprofit, our K-12 partners, higher ed, the community at large, we bring the community together as equal partners around key outcome areas, knowing that if we want to achieve large-scale success, it takes bringing the village together.
So only 36% of kids were reading at grade level in Kenosha in third grade. If your reading isn't at grade level, it's only going to hurt every other subject that you're involved in.
So much of the work that we do starts with data. It starts with us looking at data, looking at what the outcome, what the numbers look like for our community, and then saying, what can we do to improve that?
If businesses need employees and children need education, they really need each other.
So we basically do two things. We build networks and we build capacity. We look at the different stages of advancement and development in the life cycle of a child. We find people in our community that are actively engaged in the work around those areas. So we talk about kindergarten readiness. Who in our community is already doing work in that space? Daycare providers, teachers, Head Start administrators. And we bring those folks together and we build a network. And then we create goals and we help kind of project manage the success of that network meeting those goals.
BOF provides genuine value that we would not have without it in a number of ways. First, we're connected to a national network of organizations like BOF that are bringing communities together and delivering resources that come nationally into local communities.
The challenge with working together beyond just one project is whose job is it then to manage and to follow up and to organize and to align and do all the behind the scenes things that it takes to actually maintain partnership. And so what BOF does is all the kind of the dirty work that nobody wants to do in terms of making sure that partnerships are long-term and last so that we can change outcome. This is long-term work, not short-term.
Snap-on recognizes the connection between education and building the future workforce. It is imperative that Snap-on and other corporate leaders in the southeast Wisconsin support building our future.
The business community, they have a vested interest to make sure that our young people are having a good experience while they're in the K-12 system. We're talking about the workforce for today and for the future. And we want to make sure that Kenosha stays competitive as a community, as a county, and that it's vibrant, it's diverse, it's strong, and welcoming for all, right? So it's essentially that we're creating a Kenosha that's for everybody.
We need these kids. We need these kids to be thriving. And my favorite thing to think about for everyone else is, what if Johnny is the guy that's going to find the cure for Alzheimer's, and we're going to let him fall through a crack? See, that gives me the chills every time I think about that. And so I would love to see this work be part of the strategic plan for every organization in Kenosha.
Over the years, Building Our Future has done some good work. I think we're just getting started and scratching the surface on what we can be and what we actually mean to this community.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. First of all, can I just say that I love that video? My name is Destiny Garcia, a sophomore at Carthage College and the intern of this incredible student leader group. Thank you all for joining us tonight, both those who are attending in person and those tuning in on the live stream. We'd like to thank Gateway Technical College for hosting us and to Upload Partners for supporting tonight's live stream. At this time, we would also like to recognize any local elected officials in attendance, and if you are able, please stand so we can acknowledge you. At Building Our Future, we believe it is essential to elevate the voices of those closest to the challenges we are working to solve. As we collaborate with partners across Kenosha to improve outcomes for students, we know that the youth voice is more than just important. It's essential. Tonight is a reflection of that belief. As a quick overview of the forum, each candidate will have 90 seconds to respond to each question. A yellow card will be shown at the 60-second mark to indicate 30 seconds remaining, and a red card will signal the time that has expired. To respect everyone's time, there will be no public comments this evening. Additionally, the order of candidate responses has been randomized. Also, if you all could please silence your cell phones and electronics now. We truly appreciate your understanding and cooperation. And now, it is my honor to recognize the students who made tonight possible. Please join me in giving a big round of applause for Building Our Future's 2025 to 2026 Youth Voice Project.
Hi everyone, and welcome to tonight's event. My name is Tanvi Agarwal, and I am a junior at Lakeview Technology Academy. Tonight's event is hosted by a group of students representing Lakeview, Tremper, and Vistosha Central. This school board forum is supported by Building Our Future, a local movement with a clear purpose: to engage our community and to provide an environment in which we all excel. We would like to give a special shout out to the 11 students who have been involved in Building Our Future Youth Voice Project. It has been a pleasure to work with and get to know each one of you during this process.
Hello and welcome again. My name is Connor Spohr, and I am a senior at Tremper High School. Building Our Future is proud to be back for our 5th annual Youth-Led School Board Candidate Forum. Centering the voices of those most impacted by decision-making is essential to building our future. Those voices are us, the students, the youth. We assure you, through our 6-month Youth Voice Project, from the CABA Training Center to the United Way Conference Room, we took the time to prepare for tonight, as this event is very important to us. We believe that students offer powerful perspectives on their school experiences and are able to directly speak to the results of the decisions made by adults. This event is a mark of the youth voice. We have planned the event, created the marketing materials, and co-created the questions to make this night possible.
Hello and welcome again. My name is Anya Punchal, and I am a senior at Lakeview Technology Academy. Tonight's event will hopefully get more people involved in the upcoming school board election and inspire people to continue their interest in future elections or decisions made around what's best for our educational learning environment. Please note that Building Our Future does not endorse any individual candidate.
Hello, and thank you all for coming. My name is Michelle Mix, and I'm a senior at Lakeview Technology Academy. We will begin with each candidate giving an introduction and opening statement. Please share your name, job experience, and why you would like to be a member of the school board. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to answer, and a timekeeper will raise a yellow card as a 30-second warning. The red card signals time is up. We will start with Robin Cullen and move down the row.
Good evening. I want to thank Building Our Future for hosting this wonderful forum. My name is Robin Cullen, and I am a proud product of public schools. I have dedicated my life to being a teacher and a counselor for deaf and hard of hearing students for 35 years. And I'm thrilled that at the end of this year, I'll be retiring, and taking my place will be one of my former students. And that's exactly why I go into this field, to help build the capacity for the next generation. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also a private mental health counselor, and I've had my own private practice for the past 8 years. So I have the knowledge and the experience to know how decisions that are made at the top trickle down to the classroom and affect students every day, because I've been working with students for 35 years. And I'm the only candidate up here who is an educator with decades of experience. I've worked in special ed. I have a special expertise in special education. I've written thousands of IEPs. And so I'm taking this job I'm running for this because I want to help elevate the next generation. Thank you.
Good evening. Patrick Juliana, 77 years old, 48 and a half years, owned my own business. I had employees and I had budgets. And I was also an alderman, 17 and a half years, say 16. I didn't fill out my last term because we moved out of the district and I had to resign. What else? Built a home in Sturtevant, moved to Summers, built a home in Summers. That's where I reside. I was educated in the schools of Kenosha. My 3 children graduated from the schools in Kenosha. A couple of them graduated from college. And then I turned around and tried to retire, which I didn't. I'm a school bus driver in the mornings. I turn around and I see what's out there. Then I get my tax bill. 20% increase for schools. Wow, that's heavy. So it sparked my interest. So I decided to run to find out what's going on. We need more accountability. We need to do more for our students. I guess I got to quit. Thank you.
Hello, Bob Tierney. First, thank you, Building Our Future, and the students for tonight. This is my favorite forum. Currently, I am the school board treasurer. I chair the personnel policy committee. I'm on the safety committee, the additional compensation committee, and the planning facilities committee. Prior to being on the school board, I was in the Army. I did 4 combat tours. I got hurt in Afghanistan, Purple Heart, Bronze Star, all that cool stuff. When we got out, we moved to Kenosha. I wasn't very happy with the district and the education my children were receiving. I have a son in 2nd grade, a daughter who's a freshman. And then when I got on the board, I realized really quickly there's not a lot of people up there that are fighting very hard for the students and the teachers. And so I've been a hard-nosed, send-it, Army-style leadership. I hold the administration accountable for their actions. I push back. At the end of the day, when I make a decision, my litmus test is this what's best for our students? So I try to focus, that being my goal, put all the money and resources we have towards the kids. And, this is our future. It's the future of our country. It's my kids' education. So I have family that teaches in the district, so I'm very invested. And I am the only candidate with children in KUSD. Thank you.
I also want to thank Building Our Future and the students. Kenosha Unified does have a grant that we fund for Building Our Future, and it appears they're doing a great job because this is one of the programs that we fund. So my name is Yolanda Santos Adams, and I am currently serving on the board and running for re-election. What I've done with my life is I came through these schools, kindergarten through 12th. I went to local colleges, Gateway Technical College, and then Carthage College, so I am a product of Kenosha. And my 3 kids graduated from public schools, as did my 8 siblings. So, my whole family's been through the school district. I have grandkids and great-grandkids in the district. So I may not have my children right now, but I still have great-grandchildren that are in the district. I bring to the board, I was in corporate America, so I've always been from an executive secretary where I started to an accountant and a CFO. And I believe that we have the best district. I have no complaints. Most of the issues we're having are around funding, the lack of funding from the state. I will never criticize this district. This is one of the best districts in the state. I love it, and I will continue to work for the students and the teachers and the entire employment, those employees of our district, because this is my district. This is my town, Kenosha. I grew up here, and I love it.
Hi, my name is Donza Price, and I'm a junior at Tremper High School. This question will be answered first by Patrick Giuliana. Do you view the school district as a business? What issues and benefits do you see with that, and how will that impact the way you run the district? Do you view the school district as a business? What issues and benefits do you see with that, and how will that impact the way you run the district?
Do I see the school district as a business? Yes, I do. Because the money that is utilized to run the district has to have accountability. Now you turn around, the taxpayers, they're the employer. They're paying the money to operate the schools. From what I can see, the schools are always setting their budget up and they're always coming back, needing more money. You run a business, you have to run a business based on what your finances are, not on what your finances could be if you went out and you borrowed the money or you went to the state and you're getting all these grants and stuff. Because you know what? That has to get paid back. It's called accountability. And I don't feel there's proper accountability within the district. They're coming in now, they're saying they're still behind. They closed 7 schools, and they're still behind. You have to look at their expenditures from employees all the way down to the food programs. You have to. And you have to work within the money that is actually available, not the money that you can borrow and bring back over the top of your tax revenues. That's what I would look at.
Now answered by Bob.
Thank you for the question. I look at public education as more of a public service, not a business. Although there is a budget and we have to run it like, you have to make business decisions with the money, but we are constitutionally obligated to provide a quality education to our youth via public education. So I think many times people look at it like a business and they take out the human factor, like right sizing. Yes, we had to downsize, but they forgot that those are humans. These are children that you're shifting around the district, and oftentimes we're making cuts. We're not thinking about the human impact that's going to happen. We're just looking at number and data. And I think often that is one of the reasons why people don't feel like, a lot of students don't feel like they're valued very much, because they're treating it like a business. The funding is hard. We don't have a lot of money. We don't get a lot of money, but we have to do what we can do to provide these children a quality education. We're literally constitutionally obligated to do so. So yes, too much of education is becoming like a business. I think we're buying stuff. It's its own sector of business now, which is why I think we're seeing it not be as impactful as it was before. We're looking at children as numbers instead of looking at them as humans that need an education, and that's our job. So that's my answer.
Okay. I had mentioned I came from corporate America. The district is not a business. It has a budget. I'm very familiar with budgets, and we don't have products. Students are not our products. These are, like you just said, humans. We're accountable for each and every one of their education. We're responsible for all of our employees, but as board members, we don't run the district. We oversee the district. We have staff that run the district, and that starts with the superintendent and his team, and everyone else that's employed by the district. But we do make the major decisions on funding. It is not correct that we don't manage the money correctly. We have declining enrollment. We've said that over and over again at all of our annual meetings. The declining enrollment means people are not having the kids that they used to have. There's not 7 kids in a family anymore. You're lucky if you have 1 or 2. Declining enrollment affects the amount of money that we get from the state. And with less money from the state for that reason, and also because they're just holding money that they should be releasing to the public schools, we have budget deficits. So that is not something that the board can control. When they're not releasing the money, we can lobby, but we don't control that. So we're going to have to continue to face these budget deficits as the enrollment declines and as private schools are getting our public money for those schools, and we need to do something about that.
Okay, thank you for the question. Education is absolutely not a business. All of you guys here and all of our students, you are our future. And we as a community have a moral obligation to prepare you for the future. Public education is the cornerstone of our democracy. And we need to provide a quality education, and it's not a business. You are not products. You are students. You are our future. The district needs to be accountable. We do have a budget that we have to work within, but we must always ask ourselves, what is best for the student? What is best to prepare them for the future? And that is our guiding light. And if we use that as our guiding light, then we will make the best decision possible. We do have to work within a budget, but that is not what drives our decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Isabel Alseguer, and I am a junior at Tremper High School. This question will be first answered by Bob Tierney. How will you ensure student voices are considered when making controversial decisions, such as academic policies or curriculum changes? Yes. How will you ensure student voices are considered when making controversial decisions, such as academic policies or curriculum changes?
All right, thank you for the question. Right now, currently, me and a couple other board members have a student voice policy heading up that we're going to be talking about to give you guys more of a say. I listen to parents, students with curriculum changes. We need a better avenue for that, for you students to reach out to us with some of these decisions, because a lot of times it's a program that they're trying to buy, convince us to get. And then I have, like, math bridges. I had 2 students reach out with me with that curriculum and say, I absolutely cannot stand this curriculum. If you're good at math, you end up being an additional teacher, and you end up helping all the time. I think your guys' voice is not heard very often when it comes to curriculum things. I always look at it as, what do I see the need for my children? Is it what's best? Is it working? If what we're doing isn't working, we need to look at other avenues, which I don't think we do very well. I think teachers have a lot of say in curriculum. They work with the kids every day. They have really good ideas, but a lot of times they don't get their voice heard either. So I would like to see a better approach at curriculum changes with your guys' voice being heard a lot more. Hopefully the student voice policy that we get put in place, if we can get it put in place, would give you guys a louder voice and maybe even bring a vote to the table. That's what we're trying to shoot for right now. So I'm very much aware that you guys don't have very loud voices, and I'm trying to change that for you. So I appreciate the question.
Next is Ms. Yolanda.
Okay, yeah, we can always do a better job of reaching out to our students. I think that applies to any business, any institution. You know, we have to hear from the students, and this is a good example again of students' voices being heard, because they're part of this and they're asking us the questions. But I'm a big supporter of the standing committees. I am the board member that brought them back after the board had not had standing committees for a number of years. When I came back on the board, I believe it was my second year, and I've been back on 7 years, so that would have been 5 years ago. I brought back the standing committees. The best I could do was quarterly. I wanted them every month, but I mention that because in those standing committees, we can recruit high school students to come and participate in those standing committees. And that's where I like to refer anything that's a major change. I like to refer to committees so it can get community input. We can hear more citizens' comments on it, and we can get student input. But also, I want to say that we also do have opportunities for students to participate at the board meeting, and we're pretty good at doing the surveys to get the student voice on those. And I would be also supportive of revising a student policy or creating a new one. We absolutely need to hear from the students, and we need to do a better job of that, and I'm all for it.
Next will be Robin Collin.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole point, again, of public education is to educate the students, and so their voices need to be centered. We need to know how they're feeling about things, so I would love to see a student voice policy. I know that lots of other districts already have them in place, like Madison, MPS, Green Bay, Sun Prairie, Appleton. They all have a student voice policy and program, and so I don't see why we shouldn't have one here in Kenosha. I think providing surveys for students to be able to fill out, but we have to take them seriously. I like the fact that students are on the standing committee. That gives you an opportunity. I love building our future and giving you guys a chance. But again, the question for the board is every time we make a decision is what is best for students? And how do we know that if we aren't asking you what is best for you? And so we need to have a mechanism for hearing your voices. Absolutely. Thank you for the question.
Next, Patrick Juliana.
Thank you. It's a very good question. What you have to understand is that it has to be coordinated between not only the needs of the students, but the parents have to be involved. No matter what you provide to them students, if they're not getting support from their home, from their parents or parent, you're going to lose. I want to see the students get better. We're looking at 37% of the students with reading skills. That's horrible. Math is lower. It's horrible. We need to have a program to where the students can come forward and say, I need help, to better their education. That's what it's all about. It has to be coordinated. We got a lot of good teachers out there, which I feel sorry for them because they're trying their best and the students are trying, but they're not getting anything from home. We're dealing with people that were educated within our system that are raising kids. They were never educated in the proper way to bring a child up and what that child needed to further their education. So I'm all for having some type of student program to get them to move forward and do better. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sam Sheen, and I'm a sophomore at Westosha Central. This question will first be answered by Yolanda Santos-Adams. What challenges facing KUSD are you most passionate about solving, and why?
Well, that's a hard one because there's quite a few challenges that we face. And I think probably the most important one right now is, again, the budget crisis. The budget crisis. So there really is one. We're not mismanaging money. There is less money every year going to public schools, and we need to all get together and support public schools and raise our voices against the voucher program because it's not working for Kenosha Unified. And we have to make sure that we have the facilities that are safe. That's the second pressing issue, is safe schools, and we're working on that right now as a board. We know that's important to parents, grandparents, and the whole community, so we're going to be working on securing those 7 entrances that need to have secured entrances, and the wanding and the devices at the high schools. So all I can say is it's been a difficult 7 years that I've been back. Every year it's been a huge deficit, and it's not fun serving on this board when you don't have the money to give the teachers the raises they deserve, or you don't have the money to make the schools safe like they should be. It's very hard to do. It's no fun when you're in this budget crisis that we've been in for 7 years, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better unless we change leadership at the legislation.
Thank you for that question. And there are so many challenges. One is the achievement gap. The state of Wisconsin has the largest achievement gap in the country, and the achievement gap at KUSD is quite large too. Along with that, one of the things that I'm really passionate about investigating and figuring out is transportation. Transportation is something that I don't hear a lot about, and we need to figure it out, because I think transportation is leading to one of my other big issues, which is chronic absenteeism. And chronic absenteeism in the district is quite large, and students can't learn if you're not in class. And so it all ties together. And of course, security is an issue. I was, and it's an issue everywhere in all schools. I was at work today. I was in a school that was in a building next to a high school that had a bomb threat, and that high school had to be evacuated. So I know that security is an issue in our schools. So we need to tackle that, and also, of course, mental health. So there's a lot that we need to do. If I had to pick one, I'd say let's focus somewhat on transportation and the achievement gap at this point. Thank you.
A lot of good questions tonight. Talking about transportation. I drive bus in the mornings for the kids. I don't see a problem. A lot of them don't take the bus. How are you going to force them into taking the bus for public transportation? I don't know. Security. We have community service officers. I see them. Every morning I pull up, they're there. They actually should have classes to teach the students about the dangers that are out there, the pitfalls of having weapons. They should be taught that. This is why we've got kids, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, killing other students and people. Comes down to education. Without education from the proper people, we're losing big time. Say what you want to say. We don't turn schools into prisons. We turn schools into a form of education. And it's not only the reading, the writing, and arithmetic, it's about getting along in society. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the question. Number one would be student safety, safety in general. I was pretty loud and have been pushing really hard to get you guys those weapon detection systems. We got loaned for the 7 secure entrances. With safety, though, student behavior. Like elementary school, we need to let you kids run around, have a break. In high school, get a longer lunch, give you guys a break to burn energy off. At elementary school, these kids get 3 days of gym, 30 minutes of recess that we just got past. That's not enough time for kids to burn off that energy. And trapping them in that classroom and not letting them burn that energy off they can't contain themselves. It's proven. Social emotional learning that we spend money on and programming that you guys sit there and second step or whatever, your social emotional learning would be improved by recess and gym, offering you the opportunity to go speak to each other after COVID. You kids were trapped with screens, and a lot of them have lost those social skills. You guys don't know how to talk to each other. So if a teacher can't control the classroom because the student behavior is out of control, and the student behavior is out of control, that creates a safety issue, what can we do and afford to address that? Gym and recess. It's proven. In urban districts, it's proven to close the education gap. It's proven to improve academics. It's proven for everything. And it's so simple. I don't know why we wouldn't address that first. You know, and also student safety with some of the staff. We've had some issues, and thank God that we've addressed them, and I don't tolerate that kind of thing. I think, if a student's violent, they shouldn't be in the classroom. And I feel bad for the students who are good, who are trying to learn, who can't, because the classroom's pretty wild. It was like that. I went to Zion Benton. It was very similar. So safety and student behavior is my biggest things.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Waite, and I'm a junior at Lakeview Technology Academy. This question will first be answered by Robin Cullen. KUSD projects a budget deficit for the 2026 school year of $15 million. How do you intend to address this?
Okay, thank you for the question. One thing that we need to, and I know that some of my colleagues think that it's not the place of the board, but we need to continue to lobby the state to get fair funding. We are not getting fair funding, and so we need to lobby the state for that. We have a lot of money. Like, for example, at the last budget or at the last agenda meeting, they were talking about the secured entrances that they're finally going to do. It's going to cost about $7 million. KUSD pays out $7 million every year for the voucher system. And that's $7 million that we could use for our own students. We could have had secured entrances. We could hire more staff. So we need to continue to lobby the state. And then we need to focus on services with direct impact and contact with students. Are there ways that we can consolidate services? Can we build more collaboration with community partners? I'm not in favor of cuts that would affect direct services for students, and so I'm not in favor of closing any more schools. But if we have schools that are underutilized, could we move to the community school model? Consolidation. Thanks.
The way I see it, I'm not a big proponent of going for tax dollars. Go to the state, give us more money. Go to the state, give us more money. Go to the state. The state's not giving any more money. Number one, they don't have it to give. Number two, when you turn around and you're looking for funding, for finances, look at your expenditures. I've got 2 relatives and 4 friends that work for Kenosha Unified in their maintenance department. I'm hearing horror stories. The amount of money that's wasted on the food program. And because the federal government said you had to give the students that food, it goes in the garbage can. Or they take it home. They take it up north, camping. Students don't get that. They won't eat it. That's where you're wasting all your money. You don't need it. You don't give them corn dogs. You don't keep vending machines in the school so they can drink soda and get all sugared up, because that breaks your mind down. You need to do things that are going to benefit the students in the long run. You don't do things to bring money in like vending machines, and I give them credit because they got rid of the candy and cakes, but they still have the soda. It don't belong there. You need to work within your budget and spend the money that you have. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the question. It's going to be a challenge for sure. I went to Madison and lobbied last time. We can continue to lobby. We're not going to get any more money from the state, so that focus on the money we have. None of the cuts should be coming out of you guys' education. So if we got to cut more at the ESC, we got to cut more at the ESC. Do we need administrative staff to be heads of curriculum when teachers could write curriculum? No. There's an AST agreement out there. Our administration gets better benefits than everybody else. We need to cut that. There should be no, I cut from the top. You guys keep your stuff at the bottom. That's how I operate. No cutting of art, music, sports, that stuff. Could we get rid of computers, K through 8? Do we have to have laptops? I don't think so. You can learn math. You can read without a laptop. What would that save with the tech? Go back to the basics there. I think that would do it. And then look at our programming. What are we doing right now that is not working and we're spending money on? Dig through everything. I know there's things in there. I've heard it from teachers. They're wasting time on things that aren't effective. They have all these programs that are not effective. Look at that stuff instead of looking at cutting staff and putting teachers overloaded with class sizes getting huge. That's the stuff we should not be cutting. And, see how close we can get. And, if we can't get there, we can't get there. But I will not let them cut from you guys' education. It's not fair. But we can't sit here and just go, the state. It's not going to change. Do you think they're going to change? They're not. They're holding like $2 billion of our dollars there right now. They're not going to give it to us. So.
Well, I'm going to start with the state because we need to flip some of those seats so we can get some of that money released that belongs to public education. And we need to do something, as we said over and over again, about funding vouchers to private schools that takes money away from our public schools. It just drains us. But there's other things we can do. $15 million, when we closed those schools 3 years ago, they made that tough decision. You just can't. You can't even fathom what $15 million is that you have to find. So we're already talking about this stuff because it's coming, and we know it's coming if we don't get that money from the state, and we're going to keep trying. But we just hold off some of the maintenance projects, roofs, and you don't like to do that, costs you more in the long run, but that's what we've been doing. We're holding off some of the major maintenance projects to save some money until we get the money to be able to do those. So that's one way to find money. And another way is, I think the whole community, we need to get together around public education and put our heads together with our students and decide what as a community are we going to do to save our schools. We know that the majority of the money comes from salaries, wages, and benefits, and we're trying so hard not to go there. That's why we closed those schools that we did, because we didn't want to have huge layoffs. But we need everyone's help to get there, because $15 million year after year after year is a lot of money to find, and you can't just fundraise for that kind of money. So we're going to need everybody here in this room to help us, and we're going to need to be in contact with our state legislators and our local officials to help us through this dilemma that we're in.
Hi, my name is Marcus Hill, and I'm a junior at Lakeview Technology Academy. This question will be first answered by Patrick Juliana. What role should the school board play to support the recruitment and the retention of high-quality faculty and staff?
First off, you asked me a question. It's going to be a hard one to answer, not knowing the faculty. I feel that to track what a teacher is doing, they should have quarterly reports, student progress. How are these teachers educating these students? You can get a picture of their ability as an instructor instead of just letting them go for the whole year without having any type of metrics from them, what they accomplished. I would try to implement some type of a program to check the teacher and their ability to educate. Because it has to be twofold. It has to not only be the teacher and how they present their work, but it also has to be the student. So I would try to implement some type of program to where that can be looked at. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I actually get in trouble for this a lot because staffing is not really our lane. It's the superintendent's. One thing the board does control is pay and raises and being competitive. So I chair the Personnel Policy Committee, and retention was one of our issues. When you pay your substitutes $3 less than the district to your north, it's kind of hard to get them. When you're throwing brand new teachers in the hardest classrooms and not mentoring them, and we're losing 75% of our new teachers in the first 5 years, that's a problem. So I think the board could direct policy to state in your first couple of years you cannot go to those hard schools. We need to be putting our most experienced, effective teachers in the hardest classrooms to have the biggest impact. And that's not our role, but we can push the superintendent in that direction. And we haven't done very well at that. So retention's tough because, you see a lot of these teachers when we close these schools. If you were at a school that was closing, they were pretty much, here's your option, take it or leave it. They're not being treated well. If you don't treat your staff well, they're not going to want to stay. Morale's down. You gotta. Right now, there's such a us versus them mentality between teachers and administrators. They're scared. They're scared to reach out to us. So that's a culture problem. And the only person we control their contract is the superintendent. So either get on him, board, or find a different one that's going to make sure retention of our teachers is a top priority.
Well, I just want to touch on, I don't know how you recruit teachers when you have a board that is always in conflict. Okay, we need to do a better job of getting along as board members and not bashing each other. We need to do a better job of showcasing Kenosha because this is the best district. No one's going to convince me that it isn't. But if we as a team on the board don't support our entire workforce, starting with the superintendent down, or starting from the bottom person up, any way you want to go. If you don't treat all of them as professionals, the professionals that they are, with respect, and you give them the best pay you can give them with the budget that you have, the declining budget that you have, it does not mean you don't value them. It means you don't have the money at the particular year that you're given the raise. But to retain teachers, then you must support those teachers and all the other employees. I don't segregate one from the other. All the employees are important to me. Teachers are very valued, so are all the other employees. We need to treat them all the same. We need to treat them all with respect. And we need to showcase our district and not continue to say negative things about it. That's why we lost the referendum, because we were not all on the same page. And as a community, you can't pass a referendum if you don't believe in public schools and the need to, to gather together for a common cause. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I think the best way to recruit high-quality staff is to pay them better. I mean, the bottom line is if you are surrounded by districts that pay staff better, district is going to go there. I mean, teaching it's a career, and for many, it's a passion, but it doesn't mean that you can afford not to be paid. You have to be paid well. I did this for 35 years. And during my 35 years, I got divorced and had 2 kids, but I was able to stay in the field because I was paid well enough. And so we aren't going to attract. The highest quality teachers are going to go to better paying jobs. I mean, who wouldn't, right? There's no other field where you're not going to go and where you get paid better. So therefore, we get not the high quality teacher. So we need to pay more. We need to find the money. We can offer and make sure that we provide mentors for them when they come to change the culture so that they are successful. It's so important to be successful that first year or two when you're doing it. And we can provide them with better prep time. All of those things will change the culture so that people will want to come and work here. But we have to find the money to pay our staff competitively.
Hello again. My name is Tanvi. This question will first be answered by Bob Tierney. School safety is a top priority for students, family, and staff. If elected, what approaches would you support to help ensure safe and supportive learning environments in KUSD schools?
All right, thank you for the question. So for security already, 2 years ago after that incident at Roosevelt, me and another board member went out to Milwaukee schools. We saw 2 schools, their weapons detection systems, how they operated. We started a safety committee. We took that information to a safety committee, had pricing, everything ready to go. Leadership didn't want to do it, even though the police officers in the district wanted it. So that was tough. Now we're getting that. I think I understand security. I was in the military. I pulled security in very dangerous areas. Security is a culture. It's a mindset. We don't have a head of security in our district. The other big 5 do. You need somebody in charge of, that's their sole purpose in life, is to secure the buildings, secure, or make sure that the entrance of the beginning of the day is done properly. Otherwise, it's just there. Like, we can have secure entrances. If we're not following policy, it doesn't matter. I think those safety policies for staff need to be, and for students. If you're violent and dangerous, or you don't follow a policy that created a dangerous situation, you should be fired or have a harsh punishment. You students should not be in a classroom where a violent person is in there with you. And sometimes I know they say least restrictive learning environment for that student, but what about the other 25 students in there? You guys should feel safe in your schools. You should not feel like you're going to get beat up or bullied, or that shouldn't be tolerated. So we need to relook at our policies and make sure that we're zero tolerance when it comes to your guys' safety.
I agree that safety is way at the top. We want students to be safe. We don't want anything to happen to our teachers, and we need to do better. It's a work in progress. We have done better since for the last 6-7 years. We continue to improve. We have some, see something, say something. We're addressing the controlled entrances, as I had mentioned earlier. We already had wands at some of the schools. We're about to improve all of that. We already got the equipment, and I saw it at the ESC building just yesterday, I think. They were testing it out. So we're doing the best we can do. It's a little difficult for Kenosha Unified because we have over 30 schools. We're not a small district. It costs thousands for just one unit. And it's just tough to do during hard times. We're trying to do it, space it out. Good news is we're, finding some new money. We may be selling a property soon. All of this is going towards the safety measures. I serve on the city's taxing criminal district review board. There was some money that got released last year, and we had that money tucked away, and now that's going to be used for some of this security hardware that we're going to be putting in the high schools. So we'll continue to do better. I don't think it's ever going to be foolproof. We do not want to get to the point where it does look like a prison, but we'll continue to do what we can with the money that we have.
Thank you for the question. As someone who's worked in schools for 35 years, security is important to me too. And I've seen how security has changed through the years. I remember when I first started teaching, schools were unlocked. You just walked in, you wandered around. The office was in the middle of the building until you found the office, and things have really changed. And now I work in buildings with secured entrances. I have 3 fobs. I have master keys. I work in schools with locked classrooms at all times. So security is a big issue. I'm glad that we're finally fixing the secured entrances. I don't really know why it's taken so long. Again, $7 million that go out to private schools every year. I'm glad that we're getting the metal detectors, but both of those things are not, in my opinion, the number one thing to keep students safe. The number one thing, and this is what the Secret Service and everyone says, are the threat assessments. So we need to continue to have robust threat assessments, making sure that students feel comfortable reporting if they see something, to say something. That's what's going to keep us the most safe. But then we also need to build a culture, right? We need to figure out why are students coming to school and resorting to violence. So we need to teach problem solving, conflict resolution, respect for all. We need a good anti-bullying education. We need to teach students to be residual and develop grit. Thank you.
I think it comes down to more than the detectors that they're putting in for $7 million. Because I know a lot of the schools have their doors changed. You can't get in. One way in, one way out. It's there. Where the problem lies is that instilling in the students security, safety. They got the policy. See something, say something. But then again, some students are afraid because if they get squealed on that they said something, the school's not going to be around them 24/7. Somebody's going to get hurt. I think what you need to do, and I touched on that at one of the other questions, with the officers, the community officers that are there, have classes, educate the students. That's what it's about, education, security, education. I was in the military. I was in Vietnam, came home on leave. I worked at Transit Holding Detachment, which was a jail. We had to go pick up AWOL people. Not a good job. So I know all about security. We had to set it up. We had to do guard duty at the jail. You don't want a jail in the schools. You want education in the schools. You want to be able to take the students and instill the confidence in them that they know they're going to be safe in that building. And everybody's got to take and play their part. Teachers, security officers. And I think it would work. That's what you need to do. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marcelo Sil. I am a sophomore at Lakeview Technology Academy. This question will first be answered by Yolanda Santos Adams. Chronic absenteeism has become a challenge for many districts. What strategies would you support to help students facing chronic absenteeism in KUSD?
And I go first, right? Yeah. Okay. Chronic absenteeism, yeah, it's a major problem. And I mentioned this at the last forum we're in. We need to make sure that we are working with our parents, and please get the kids to school. Even if they're going to be late, just get them to school. As one of the candidates up here said, you know, they can't learn if they're not in the classroom. So we need to, I just think we need to work with moms and dads and reinforce the need for them to help us educate their children by getting them in school. I know there's a couple of routes that, I just found out there's a couple of routes that don't have a late bus, and that concerns me. I'm going to be checking into that. And they're out way on Pleasant Prairie, 39th Avenue, way on the south end. So if the kids miss the bus, they don't have a late bus. So that's a concern of mine. But we need, the truant officer isn't going to act if the child's getting excused by the parent. So the child is not truly sick or not sick enough, in my opinion, to be home, and they call him in sick, and they call him in sick, and they call him in sick. That's not hitting the truant officer then because they're excused. So we need to, you know, with our counselors and our teachers and our parents, I think, as a district, we need to all put our heads together and see what we can do to improve attendance, and then, of course, find the root issue of why the kids aren't coming to school. If it isn't one of those reasons I mentioned, then we need to help that student out.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, chronic absenteeism is a big issue. According to DPI, about 25% of all students have a chronic absenteeism, and it's much higher for other populations. Our Black students are 38%, Students with disability is 36%, and the Latino community is 31%. We can't raise achievement scores if students aren't in school. And I think the number one reason that students are absent is transportation issues. I held a community listening session, and what came out of that was with the closure of some of our schools, many of our students now have 2 miles to get to school one way. And that's just, it's not, many of our students were responsible for taking their younger siblings to school, dropping them off, and then going to school. They can't do that. And so if they do, they just don't get there. And so we need to figure out the transportation issue. We need to figure out more late buses and extracurricular buses for students, because students that are engaged in extracurricular activities are more likely to be engaged in school, and they're going to want to come to school more. We need to have figure out from the community what kind of issues are going on so that we can help students get to school. But yeah, I think a big part is the transportation. Thank you.
Transportation and absenteeism. So the student says, I'm not going to school because I didn't get a ride. Well, I'm old school. When I grew up, we had to walk. Not a mile or a mile and a half. We walked 2 to 3 miles. In the rain? No, in a blizzard. You remember Bonnie Hame, Yolanda? You want to comment? Remember Bonnie Hame? Yes, sir. Remember they tore that down in the early 60s? Yes, you know what the wind was like in the wintertime when it was 5 above and the wind's blowing at 20 miles an hour, and now you're in 15 below, and you had to walk backwards with your jacket pulled up over your head. Okay? And we had a lot of students. We didn't have the city buses being paid for by the school district, and the kids don't want. We have kids, true story, 4 blocks to a bus stop on the main street. We've got to drive that main street, and then we turn off of that main street. They could put a bus stop on that main street, on that corner. But 4 blocks to the south, we have to turn to go pick up 3 students. Give me a break. Give me a break. Our system has created lazy people. You can't walk 4 blocks. You know what it costs the school district to pay Kenosha Transit to operate a bus? And we got kids that can't walk a couple of blocks. It's too far. Yeah, guess what? Walk it. Or the truant officer is going to come and see you. There's too many slap on the wrist and go, I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at you. Okay. Thank you.
It's going to be hard to follow that. So I think one of the problems, I'm a little different. I didn't walk uphill both ways through the snow and stuff. I had a yellow bus that I got to catch to go to school. But 2 miles is far, in my opinion. Like when I was in middle school, if I would have had to walk 2 miles, I'm not going to school. I'm going to be at the train tracks, hanging out, doing dumb things. So I understand that. But like these kids with chronic absenteeism, well, let's talk to the parents. Can we move your kid to a different school that's easier to get to? Could an online option be possible so your kid would still get an education? And then if nothing's happening, we can also hold parents accountable. You are responsible to get your children to school. That is a thing. It is a law. And we don't do very well at that. We just, this kid's never here. That's not working. So if we can look at other options. I know there's kids that go to Ruther, and since it's a choice school, they have to pay for a city bus. Well, if they can't afford the city bus pass, then that's not fair. So we just need to look at all that. And if you are chronically absent from a school that you chose to go to that's not your boundary, I think you should have to go back to your boundary that's closer to your house. I think that should be a privilege to go to other schools. But the distance is something we could look at. Maybe we should cut that in half, look at better busing pass options, because like I said, I'm a little younger. I'm not walking to school in the snow 2 miles if my parents are at work. And a lot of our parents are at work in this area. We're blue collar, we're working class Kenosha. So I think we need to work with the parents a lot better on that, because right now I don't see us really doing much.
Hi, My name is Isaac, and I'm a junior at Tremper High School. This question will be answered first by Robin Colin. Some families choose educational options outside the district. What ideas do you have to strengthen confidence in KUSD and encourage families to choose our public schools?
Thank you for the question. Some of our parents do choose to educate their kids outside of schools. I've been a strong anti-voucher proponent. I do not believe in public funds going for private schools. About 70 to 80% of students who are receiving vouchers were already enrolled in private schools and then got the vouchers. So it's not a huge percentage of students that are leaving public schools to go into private schools. Parents choose private schools for all kinds of reasons, but I don't believe that the public should be financing them. I believe that public schools, public funds belong in public schools, and the reason for that is because we have elected school boards, we have open records, we have all kinds of accountability. We're obligated to educate all students. So we have great schools. We have choices within our schools, and I believe that we need to celebrate them more. We need for people to know we have choices. You don't have to go to your boundary school. You can go to a different school. We have open even enrollment outside of districts. So there's lots of options. Thank you.
Since I got interested in running for this position, I have talked to parents whose children are not in public schools. They're in K-Tech or some other voucher schools. And I ask them why. Safety, number one. Number two, discipline. Number three, higher level of education. I said, can you prove that? They said, sure. Their grades, their ability to get things done. What I can't understand is when these parents are opting out, why doesn't the superintendent or somebody within his administration go to the parents and find out why? They're not doing that. They're not doing that. And they do get a lot of their money from funding and donations, not tax dollars. So I kind of take offense to that because I went and talked to a couple of the administrators, and I get a totally different story than I get from Unified. I would like to get the truth on that. If they're pulling their kids out, they're pulling them out for a good reason. Maybe we should adopt what they're doing as far as their discipline goes and the parochial schools as far as their discipline goes. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the question. I mean, first, obviously, you got to look at why are they leaving. So I had put my kids in private school before because I wasn't happy with the situation they were in. I can't afford that, so obviously I'm back. But why do most parents take their kids out? Either it's unsafe, they're not feeling like they're being challenged, or these other schools offer programs that our public schools do not offer. I know one big thing is smaller classroom sizes in those other schools, which is very tough for us to do. Currently, right now, it's going to be tough to lower those. But I often feel like if your child isn't a problem, doesn't create issues, they're kind of forgotten about. If they fall behind, they don't really get resources to catch back up. We're not pushing kids to exceed as far as they can exceed. I feel like we're putting smart kids in easy classes instead of pushing them. I'd rather kids be getting a hard B, hard C than an easy A. Like, I feel like we need to be pushing kids, striving. You guys should be striving to get as much education as you can. And whatever level that is, that's fine. But that's why parents are leaving. They're not happy with the board. I know a lot of parents that have pulled their kids out because of the board. The board doesn't answer them. They don't address their problems. People don't feel heard. If you don't feel like your kid's safety is a priority, you're not going to keep your kid there. So, I mean, we lose a lot of kids out west. Why is that? It's because they offer safer schools. They don't tolerate things like we tolerate. So I think we really need to prioritize behavior, offering students more challenging courses, and just creating a safer environment for everybody. I think that would keep more kids here, because that's the main reason why parents are pulling their kids out.
Okay, yeah, I think that, parents have wonderful choices in Kenosha County. There's a lot of parents that choose to send their children to parochial schools. That's their choice. It's a wonderful choice if you can afford it. But the reasons that people leave our district, some of them they're not happy with the schools, but it's hard to compare our public schools with a population of over 17,000 students to a small private school with maybe 200 to 500 students. Of course there's smaller class sizes. Of course there's more one-on-one teacher time. But what they don't have is all the extracurricular activities that our public schools have. We have all these sports programs, we have the music program, we have the wonderful theater program, we have everything at Kenosha Unified. We're one of the best when it comes to after-school activities. So I just want to close by saying they also, parents leave those private schools and come back to public schools. So we lose them, they leave for a little while, they come back, and we have to finish their education. So it goes both ways with the complaints about the schools and them coming and going back and forth.
Thank you.
Hello again. This question will first be answered by Patrick Juliana. During budget planning, what resources will you prioritize in order to maintain a resource-rich district?
First of all, I'd request their operating budget for that time period. Then I would request expenditures. And then we can make decisions on where do we have to make cuts to balance. Because unless you have that perspective going, you're going to constantly be running at a deficit. You constantly be looking for money. You've got to get more money, more money, more money. You need to address your expenditures. I don't want to take anything away from the students. I'm 100% for the students. And the curriculum, you just can't touch the education side of that. Now, when you look at your band, it's good. You look at your arts, it's good. A lot of good programs over there. So you have to turn around and come to some kind of a conclusion on where you're going to expend the dollars and where you're going to get it back. I'm thinking, this is my opinion, I haven't been into the system and looked at all the specifics, but I think it's top-heavy with administrators, very top-heavy in the employment sector. And I'm thinking if you can address that, thank you.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
During budget planning, what resources will you prioritize in order to maintain a resource-rich district?
All right, thank you for the question. So to me, the most valuable resource that we have besides your students is your teachers. We have to give them what they need to properly educate our students. Put them in a good environment, let them control their classrooms, give them power to do that. All of our money needs to go down to teachers, support staff, students. If it doesn't involve that, like other members have said up here earlier, if we can hold off on this roof for a year and make sure that we get prep time. If we can give raises this year at full CPI, instead of fixing this, we'll keep some more teachers. If we don't have quality educators in the classrooms, you guys aren't going to get a quality education. So one thing that I feel like has been missing in a long time is we don't listen very well to our most valuable resources. What do they see you guys needing? They're the ones in there every day with you. They know what you need. They know what you don't need. Is this curriculum worth it? Yes or no? Okay, we just, if you're going to spend $500,000 on a curriculum and not get feedback from all your teachers, that's not a very smart move, and that's what we do. So I would say we need to do a way better job at listening to teachers, figuring out what we can do to give them everything they need, see what that costs, and then go look at what we can cut to get that paid for. Thank you.
Yes, and I think the last thing we want to cut is anything that has to do with the classroom for the students, because the students come first. So they'll always be the top priority in our district is their education and providing them with the best resources. They have to be well-rounded adults. We would, lastly want to touch our music program, our sports programs, our theater program. That's what keeps kids in school oftentimes. And those are usually the students that will excel with their academics. So as we continue with this budget deficits, we're going to have these serious discussions and have to make these very, very tough decisions on what do we cut to balance the budget. And we're running out of ideas. It's getting harder and harder. So again, we have that lifeline of the money from the state that we need to keep pulling on that, because I just don't know where we're going to cut anymore, short of letting go of some of our teachers. And we all say we don't want to do that. We value our teachers. We need them in the classroom. The students need them. But we're going to have to find a way to balance the budget when the money's just not there. But again, lastly, anything that affects the classroom is going to be at the bottom of the list of cuts.
Thank you for the question. I think I do believe that every problem has a solution. It's just not always obvious, and it requires everyone coming to the table and working together. I think as we look at the budget, we need to look at every item and we need to ask the question, how does this help students? And then go from there. Once we know how it helps students and what the direct impact is, then we can prioritize what's the most important. And then we can look at, are there ways that we could collaborate with the community and the city to help maintain things? We have to think outside the box. We have to, because nobody is coming to save us. That we know. The federal government's not coming to save education. The state has let us down. We're going to keep lobbying. The state has a huge surplus. They have money to give to public schools, so we need to keep pressuring that. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to us and the community. And so, but as long as we continue to ask ourselves that question, how does this help students? And that's our guiding answer, or our guiding question, then I think that we will make the best decisions possible. But it's going to take some creative thinking, and it's going to take all of us, not just the school board and not just the administration, but the community at large. Thank you.
Hello again. This question will first be answered by Bob Tierney. When ideas such as increasing recess time are brought forward, how would you decide what's best for students while also considering academics and resources?
Thank you for the question. So in 2002, with No Child Left Behind, we took away recess and gym to try to improve academics. That was the main focus, was academics, and we took that away. Look at the data, it isn't working. It is proven, CDC, Johns Hopkins University, we should be offering 60 minutes of exercise daily to students at all levels. We're not even coming close to that. So for me, the DPI allows us to take minutes from here and there. If we took 3 minutes from math, 3 minutes from English, 3 minutes from art, 3 minutes from music, 3 minutes from that, and added that to recess or gym, is that going to benefit more than those 3 minutes of English or math? When I visit classrooms and kids at the elementary level have chairs upside down with rubber bands on it, bouncing their legs and fidget spinners because they can't sit still. Are they learning math or English or art or music? They're not. So I think we need to prioritize what is proven. Look at data, look at the statistics. I understand No Child Left Behind and the focus on academics. It didn't work. You need to have exercise. Our youth is not very healthy. The adults are very not healthy. But It's proven, and I think that should be the main focus. If it's healthier for the children and it's proven to work for social emotional learning, mental health, behavior, academics, it's all there. It's data driven. It is proven to work. So I think we need to make that a top priority if we want to see anything change. Otherwise, I mean, if we keep cutting from your guys' exercise to give you a class on how to act socially, that's a waste of money, in my opinion.
Okay, we did just add 10 minutes of recess. I really don't know, that isn't really what was wanted. What was really wanted was 30 minutes. So it was just a little bit that we agreed to. I really don't know how much of a difference that's going to make in exercise, 10 minutes. I know it's better than none. I would have preferred to extend the lunch hour and give them a little more time to eat, unless we could have done the 30 minutes of recess. So all I can say about the recess is it's to give that amount that's recommended and that we would all love to see is costly, very costly. That's why we haven't done it. It creates schedule changes. You have to add support staff. It's not that easy. But I do think that as we look at improving academics, that we spend money more wisely in those areas than in exercise. That's just my opinion. I wish we could do it. I think kids do need the exercise, but I think some of that we can have them do at home or during some of the kind of breaks. But I wouldn't want to cut into the academic minutes to increase recess.
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah. When ideas such as increasing recess time are brought forward, how would you decide what's best for students while also considering academics and resources?
Okay, thank you for the question. Being a mental health professional, I do know that recess is important, and I am a supporter of increasing recess. But we also live in Wisconsin, and working in the schools all these years, I know that there are big chunks of time in the middle of the winter when recess doesn't equate to running outside, going outside, running around and getting physical activity. It often means being inside. And so that's an issue. Or what about students who aren't properly dressed to be able to go outside? So it's a bigger issue, but I do believe that kids need more breaks. We ask kids to sit in chairs all day. And when adults have to do it, they're like, when we have to do like professional development and we have to sit and learn all day, we're like, oh my God, this is hard. And yet we ask students to do it all day long. So I do believe that we need to figure out the recess, but I also want to make sure that it's not adding to the workload of teachers. So we need to think about how we're going to implement this. And I think that probably every school might be a little different on how they do it. Every school has different facilities, especially when it comes to indoor recess. We have to think about what is that going to look like too, and not make sure we're just having 30 minutes of time and kids are sitting around doing, without actual recess. So thank you.
This is very frustrating. Go back a few years. We had recess. Kindergarten, all the way up to 6th grade. We had recess. The kids went outside, half hour. You know what it did? It cleared their mind, got their blood flowing, and it made camaraderie. They got along with their fellow students. And then when it was pouring rain out, we went in the gym. Common sense tells you that. And when it was too cold out, we went in the gym. Didn't have to worry if you were dressed or not. Come on. Go back to what it was. I keep hearing all this talk about, maybe it comes down to how you're going to psychologically get the student through the day with their education. Give them a break. We all had breaks. We had recess time. It did work, and it didn't cost you any more money. Because some of the teachers used to enjoy being on the playground with the kids. It helped them too. So don't come out and say, we can't do it. You can do it. They did it, well, I've been out of school too long, but they were doing it when I got out of school and we enjoyed it. So don't be coming up with excuses on why you can't do something. Come up with something saying we can do it, and it will get done, it won't cost you no money, and thank you, I've seen it.
Thank you.
Hello again. I'm Sam. This closing statement will first be answered by Yolanda Santos Adams. What advice would you give to your younger self, and if there's anything else you would like to say that you were unable to?
Wow, to my younger self, like how younger? You want to go how many years back? Like your age?
School, sure.
I think to my younger self, I would have gone to college right after high school. So you high school students, don't take a break. Go to college right after high school, because you take a break and then that becomes 2 years and 3 years. And I did go back to college and got 2 more degrees, but I did it at night school, and that's not as fun. So to my younger self, it would be that. And then also, I think I just don't have many regrets about my life. I think I've had a wonderful life. I had 3 wonderful children, and they're loving children, and they gave me a bunch of grandkids, and I never left Kenosha. I had many opportunities to leave Kenosha with job moves, and I chose to stay here. And so my best advice to my younger self would be just be who you are, keep your faith, and never give up.
All right. To my younger self, I think I would tell myself it's all going to work out. Don't worry about it. I think we spend a lot of time worrying about what if, and we just need to do it. I would encourage myself to do those things that I'm afraid of, and because that's going to make me stronger, and it's going to make me more courageous, and to just know that every problem has a solution. It may not be right in front of you, but it's there. Don't be afraid to ask for help. There's lots of people around that can help you. And so that's the advice I would give myself. I don't have to do it alone. Don't be afraid, and just jump in and do it. I've dedicated my life to public education, helping students become the next generation. And even though, I'll be honest, I am excited to be retiring at the end of this school year, I am not ready to give up on public education. I still love it every single day. And I think it's important to have educators on the school board. It's important to know that the decisions that are made, how it trickles down to the classroom. And I can ask those questions. And I will always ask the question, how does this help students? And make my decision based on that. Thank you.
Myself, went all the way through school. I didn't graduate. I ended up going in the service, got out of the service. I ended up going to night school. And the night school I went to was out in Bakersfield, California. I graduated from there. I got my high school diploma through Tremper High School. And then I had people telling me what I had to do. Go take a fluid power course. I did. I didn't like it. Everybody's going to tell you what to do. Do what's going to make you happy. What made me happy is working with my hands. I opened up an automotive repair facility. I was there 48 and a half years. I fixed cars, fixed trucks, and I sold vehicles. And I was real happy, and I was real good at it. I retired. I had a lot of money in the bank. I could have made more money, but I wouldn't have been happy. So whatever you want to do in life, the first thing you want to do, think. Get it in your heart, think about it. Because you could be making $1 million a year and not be happy with your job and be miserable. Or you could be making $100,000 a year and be the happiest camper in the campground. So just remember that. Whatever you choose in life, make sure you're going to be happy doing it. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I know when I first got to Iraq, I should have went to college. But so I would say surround yourself by good people, not popular people. So I wasn't some patriotic, save the country type. No, I got in a lot of trouble. It was Army, jail. Army was my path. So it saved my life. I would never take that back. I'm proud that I served. But don't give up on yourself. That's what happens. Keep moving forward. You get knocked down, keep going, keep going. I fell into a trap of surrounding myself by bad people in Zion, Illinois. Bad people bring bad things. You get into bad things, it's hard to get out of that. Surround yourself by good people, not popular people. People that you can trust. Be open and honest with yourself. The advice you would give somebody else is usually the advice you should be taking, right? Like how many times have we sat there and gave somebody advice and like, man, if I did that myself, I'd probably be in a lot better spot. So know who you are, know what you're worth, be proud of yourself, and don't let anything knock you down. Like I said, I got knocked down. Luckily for me, it was a time of war. I was able to go do some combat things and save my life. But I would be dead right now had I continued down the path I was on. And it's very easy to give up on yourself and get trapped in a bad area around bad people. So surround yourself by good people, not popular people, would be my advice to myself. Thank you.
Before we say goodbye, we would like to thank Destiny Garcia, Maggie Campbell, and Brennan Morris from Building Our Future for their guidance, as this event was made possible through their leadership. We appreciate the candidates for taking the time to speak with us and hope all of you watching will cast your vote on April 7th. The student voice matters, and by bringing attention to what's important to us, we hope to elevate more of Kenosha's youth and help them find their own voice.
Last year, when we had our youth-led forum, we were asked the question, what's possible when you bring people together around a shared result? Well, together, a handful of students have created an amazing yearly tradition in Kenosha, the Youth-Led School Board Candidate Forum. We thank every one of you for your support, and we can hope to continue this phenomenal event for many years to come. And now, to close out the evening, I'll hand it over to Brandon from Building Our Future, because even though this is a student-led event, we're always happy to welcome those who are young at heart.
Thanks, Anya. Yes, I am young at heart. So I'm Brandon Morris, and I get the great opportunity to serve as the Partnership Development Manager for Building Our Future. And I had the pleasure of guiding these young people for the last 5 months, and it was an extreme delight. So give it up for the young people, please. So as we close tonight's Youth-Led School Board Candidate Forum, I want to say thank you to everyone that helped make this event possible. So thank you to Gateway Technical College for allowing us to host it here. We appreciate you guys. And then thank you to Upload Partners, our streaming, for supporting our live stream. And to the candidates, thank you. Thank you for your time and for helping to inform our community. And to everyone here, all of you guys, showing up is extremely important. That's what these kids need the most, is for us to continue to show up. And then to all of you guys that are watching online, even though you couldn't make it, thanks for supporting the young people by watching live. And continue to go back and watch and make sure you stay informed. Again, your presence really sends a message to our young people that their voices matter. And then to you guys, our students, over the last 5 months, you've done the work. You guys were researching, asking some very thoughtful questions, and representing not only yourselves, but your peers, your classmates, those of you guys that go to school with every day, as well as this community. And what we saw tonight was youth leadership, what youth leadership truly looks like. And for that, thank you guys. So as we complete this 5th year of the Youth Voice Project, it has been an honor to witness the journey. So we hope all of you guys leave tonight informed. We hope you guys leave inspired by all of these young people. But most importantly, we hope you guys leave here empowered, and empowered to continue to lift up the student voice. Because our students are not just the future, they are the future we must continue to build in, invest in, and believe in. And before you leave, I want to encourage you guys to stay engaged. Stay engaged and make sure your voice is heard on Election Day, which is Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. So make sure you get out and vote. And if you're not already, make sure you guys follow us on our social media pages, Building Our Future. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we're on LinkedIn. So please follow us. And as you leave out, not while you're driving, you're sitting in your car for a half a second, make sure you take a picture, post a picture, and tell them that you were here tonight and how well you guys were informed and how well these young people did. Again, thank all of you guys. Safe travels. Come on up, come on up, come on up.